Hey everybody, have you ever had a horse that's been buddy sour or had anxiety about leaving other horses or barn sour? If you have, then pay attention to this video because I'm going to give you some ideas about maybe what causes that and maybe what you can do about it to make it a little better for you and your horse. I'm Don Lindsay from Don Lindsay Horsemanship. I've been riding horses and trying to figure horses out for about over 30 years now. I've done everything from being a cowboy on ranches where I rode every day year round to starting colts to training reining horses, training rope horses, and now I'm trying to train and rein cow horses. And it reminds me of something Tom Dorrance said a long time ago. He said one time that the first thing you need to learn is usually the last thing you learn. And I think about that all the time now because I've learned something and I wonder, man, I wish I could have learned that 10, 20 years ago. That would have really helped me progress a lot faster, but that's usually not the way it works. Anyway, what I want to talk to you today about is horses that are kind of buddy sour, or they call it sometimes separation anxiety. What usually causes that, is a horse is a herd animal, and they feel a lot safer when they're in a herd, when they're with their own kind, than they do when they're with us. And another thing is, Mother Nature gave a horse his legs to save his life. They're his self-preservation, so he can flee from danger. And so that's usually what a horse wants to do when he is not comfortable with his surroundings, when he's not sure of himself, when he's afraid, is he wants to flee, and the first place he wants to go is to more of his own kind. So another horse or a group of horses is where he feels most secure. Okay, now I've kind of got a different way of looking at this than a lot of people I've heard talk about it in the last while. I've heard people say, well, you need to put your horse in a round corral, and you need to round corral him, and you chase him around the round corral until he stops and looks at you. Then you turn and walk away and see if he'll follow you. I'm sure you've all heard of that. They call it hooking on or joining up. There's a lot of different names for it. It's the same concept. And I'm not saying that doesn't do any good, but you can work on that till you're blue in the face, and still you take your horse out on the trail, and usually the issues are going to be the same. If he's unsure, he's going to try and get back to more of his own kind and get back to another horse. So the way I look at that is, when I'm starting to work with a horse, first thing I want is I want that horse to pay attention to me without being bothered by it. Whether I'm on the ground or whether I'm on his back, I want him paying attention to me, and I have little exercises I do. I may just shake my lead rope and make my horse back up a little bit, and I'll keep his attention focused right on me. Anytime his attention goes that way, I bring it back. If it goes that way, I bring it back, and I keep that horse focused on me. Okay, and I want to do that until he stands there and he's okay doing that. And you'll see their head will come down, they'll start licking their lips, they'll start getting a relaxed, softer look in their eye, they'll be blinking their eyes more. There's a lot of signs that show that they're getting where they're okay with things. And the next thing I like to do from their back and on the ground is I like to get where I can control their feet. I want to be able to move the hindquarters to the left, the hindquarters to the right, the front quarters to the left, the front quarters to the right, get my horse to go forwards and backwards, whether I'm on the ground or whether I'm on their back. I want to be able to do all these things, and I want to always try and sense where there is any resistance in my horse when I'm asking him to do any of these things, and I want to address that resistance, and I want to take care of that resistance and get where it's just like Ray Hunt used to call it, a feel following a feel. It's not a lot of pressure. It's not pressure and release. It's a feel following a feel, and that's what I like to try and get with my horses. So I pick up a lead rope or I pick up a rein, and they just come with it. They don't wait for me to pull on them. They can feel that I'm drawing on them, and they'll come with it. And I want to get that, no matter what I'm asking my horse to do, from their back and from the ground. Okay, so my horse learns to stay focused on me. it's just getting your horse good and broke. And I'm not picking on trail riders, but I see too many trail riders that say, well, I don't want to ride my horse in the arena. I'm just going to ride out on the trails. This is good enough. My horse doesn't have to know how to do all that fancy stuff. I'm just going to ride out on the trails. And like I said, I'm not picking on trail riders, but to me, that is where you need it the most, because when you're out on the trail, you're not in a controlled environment like you are if you're in a round pen or in an arena. That's a pretty controlled environment. You can control a lot of the elements there of things that might scare your horse. Or, you know, you can put obstacles in there and get him used to things. You can do all kinds of things in the arena that you can do out on the trail. And I'm not picking on trail riders. Trail riding is a good thing. It's a good thing to do with your horse. I like to find a balance between how much I take my horses out on the trail and how much I work with my horses in the arena. And because just of the fact that I have to ride so many horses a day, I usually find myself spending most of my time in the arena, but I try and get them out on the trails and just go for a nice relaxing trail ride as much as I can. Or I try and go out on a ranch somewhere and help somebody move a bunch of old slow cows along and let them learn to go out and relax on the trail. Okay, now when I'm riding my horses, I teach my horses not just to move the hindquarters left and right, front, left and right, forwards and backwards, but I start combining them things where I teach my horses to do a counter bend, I teach my horses to side pass, I teach my horses to two track, I teach them to get really soft in the bridle and collect to me when I pick up my hands. And just like I mentioned before, I'm always looking for resistance. If I find resistance in my horses anywhere, I'm going to address that resistance, because that's a sign my horse is saying, I'm more interested in what's going on over there than I am in what you're asking me to do. So I address that resistance, and I get my horse where he is so with me that he's not really worried about the other horses, you know. And it's been a long time since I've had a horse that was Buddy Sour or Corral Baki or Herd Bound or Barn Sour. They're all basically the same problem in a horse. It's not feeling secure with you. They don't feel like you're really the leader. If you get a chance, drop a comment in the comment boxes below this video and let me know where you're watching from. And if you are interested, maybe give me some ideas about things I can talk about in future videos. Put that in the comments and I'd sure be glad to oblige you. If you're interested in what I'm doing, what I have to offer, you can check out my website. I'll leave a link in the comments. It's dlhorsemanship.com, and we'll talk to you another day. Thanks, folks.